Welcome to SoCal Sports Reports Quick Blast. I am John Stillman, joined by Jake Formansky. Our target today are the Angels. And Jake, I just don't even know where to start with this. I mean, it's the same thing every year. The narrative is just coming out of a different mouth. I've heard it from Jerry DePoto. I heard it from Billy Upler. Now I'm hearing it from Manesian. We need a starting pitcher. We need top of the rotation pitching. We need maybe two starters, and it's the same. It's the same every year. I'll give the present GM credit for at least he signed Noah Syndergaard from the Mets, but is he really? I mean, the guy's pitched 2 innings the last 2 years. Can you consider him the top of the rotation starter? If he's healthy, you may get 20, 25 starts, but they need more pitching. They need another pitcher. I mean, the moves that Texas and Seattle have made in this division, right now you're looking at a last place team.
Oh, 100%. And, I think that's, the thing too, where they're trying to put another Band-Aid on it, and you look at, a guy like Noah Syndergaard, who's only had 2 starts in 2 years, granted it's a 1-year, $28 million deal. So, you're kind of going for something, high risk, reward type of deal and high risk, low, outcome, but it's not, he'll be a good piece. I mean, hopefully he can, it was kind of like the Dan Herons back in the day. We're like, well, hopefully he can get us just 10 to 12 wins. But for this, staff, he's going to need to carry us because, Shohei is probably going to be, in my opinion, he's probably going to be hitting a little bit more than pitching. So you got to, take stock into that. I think, with how, now more, information's coming out about how they weren't really even in on Scherzer. They weren't really in on, Stroman or, some of these top name free agents. I mean, Robby Ray signed for 5 years, 115, and, that would have been a nice, left-handed starter.
Yeah, that's the guy you should have signed.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for passing on Scherzer, 43 million.
Oh, yeah.
That's asinine.
For a 37-year-old pitcher. I mean, I get that, but I mean, the Stromans and, and even to back it up too, they didn't really even get any relief pitching. Michael Lorenzen, he's a hometown kid, but I mean, he's had his ups and downs, and he's not a guy that, I mean, I don't know if they're going to use him as a starter, as like a fifth, number 5, or, if they're just going to have him be a righty out of the pen. Loop is okay. The guy they got from the Mets, but
I like him.
I like him too. I think, he'd be a nice bridge guy from, the 6th, the 7th inning. But if that's the best you can do in this offseason, when you knew the CBA thing was going to happen, it's just, and then when this whole CBA stuff's done, granted, you're probably going to get guys a little bit cheaper, but there's nobody left really. And
exactly.
a lot of these teams are going to sign, the Kenley Jansen's and, Paxton's gone and Hap's gone and, Hill's gone. It's like, there's gonna be no more of these, you're gonna see a lot more 1-year deals, but they're already gonna be, swallowed up, or if they already are. So it's kind of, another wasted year again.
You got that Carlos Rendon, I think, is still out there. Of course, Kershaw, who ended up back with the Dodgers, or maybe even Texas.
Maybe Texas, yeah.
Greinke, who wants the Sky for 1 year, and then he's gone. Duffy and Harry. Manny Cueto. I mean, there's nobody out there. There's nobody really out there.
There's nobody really out there, and it's and I think, I know Angel fans are going to be annoyed hearing this, but it's like, if that's going to be the case, you're going to have to get rid of an Adele or a Marsh to get some sort of pitching back, because, at the same time, now Trout's kind of being a little bit more vocal, in these off seasons. It's kind of like you're going to have to kind of appease him at some point, because, he could get up and leave if he wants. I mean, if he, he's been with us for a while, it's like, if he wants to, go and win somewhere and sees that the organization year after year isn't doing anything, I don't blame him.
And I don't think their pitching is that deep. I mean, of course you got Ohtani. I like Ohtani, but, and is it Sandoval, the guy from Mission Viejo, Sandoval?
Yeah, you got Patrick Sandoval. I mean, he's going to be a guy that I think will probably be the lower end guy in the rotation, but they're also not, coming out and saying that Griffin Canning probably won't pitch this year.
Yeah.
With his arm problem. So it's like, So now what, you're gonna be down to 3, and then you're gonna hope that Detmers can rebound after last year. I mean, and he's a young guy, so it'll be technically his first full season with us. It's like, it's just getting to a point where I don't know there's just no strategy, it feels like, with this team. And then you look at the Texas Rangers spending a boatload of money. You look at Seattle, that's going to be competitive. I mean, telling, some of my friends this, I mean, it wouldn't surprise if the Angels finished in dead last next year.
Seattle was in the thing until the last week of the season. They were in the
Yeah.
running for a wild card, and they've loaded up. Houston will always be there. They'll figure out a way.
Yeah.
Oakland lost a couple of outfielders, Marte and who's the other guy? I forgot, but Billy
they
Bean,
lost Olsen.
Billy Bean always figures out a way to contend. So
Yeah.
I like I said, I don't see where the Angels are going to get out of the cellar.
I don't either. And they're banking on, their offense being there, but, good pitching beats good hitting. And, especially with everybody else, what they're doing in the American League, I mean, it's going to be tough to, get into that wild card. I read somewhere where one of the CBA talks is expanding the playoffs. So hopefully that could happen. Maybe the Angels could squeak in there, but at some point, then it's like, is everybody just going to make the playoffs? I mean, there's just really no, there's no, like I said, there's just no theory. There's no thought process of really what they're trying to do. I know they have Upton still on the books, and I know they've been trying to trade him the last couple of years, but I mean, Upton. And I know if, they gotta, with all this money, that's off the books with Pujols, you thought, going to this offseason, they'd spend money, but that's again, not the case.
I just, like I say, I'm not feeling all that optimistic. I've always, in the last 3 or 4 years, I've always, you pick them third ahead of Seattle and Texas, but those two teams have just, Texas signs 2 great shortstops. Semien, he'll play second base, and they got Seager. That's going to be a good team. And
it's going to be a good team.
The Angels, I just don't know what you put, even with, you just better hope for no injuries, period. 0.
Yeah. 0.
I mean, if you're going to have Trout, you better have, the third baseman hitting behind him, and you better have Ohtani hitting in front of him, or else he's not going to do much offensively. He doesn't have protection.
And Rendon, it's just can't stay healthy either. So that's the other, you got to hope that he can, at least play, unfortunately half the season, and just hopefully his offense can pick up.
I give both Dipoto in Seattle and Billy Epler in New York credit for going out there and being aggressive, something they couldn't do with the Angels. I think the Mets might have stolen a little thunder from the Yankees in New York now with the what they've done. They've really improved their club, and they're going to be a contender in the East. So let's get back to this rotation. What do we got? 3 guys. We got Syndergaard, Ohtani, and maybe Sandoval. Is that?
Yeah.
That's about it.
And then you have Detmers, who they're saying is going to pitch. And that's the other thing too. If they would have had if they would have came out and said, "Hey, here's our plan. This is what we're thinking," then I think us as Angel fans can maybe sleep a little bit better, at night. But they didn't. And going into last year, during the draft, they drafted those 21 pitchers, and those guys aren't going to be ready.
No.
So it's just they're banking, they're gambling on a lot right now, which that's not something, gambling, as a gambling person, you don't really want to be throwing all your chips in there and just hoping that one of these, hopefully, 18 or, 15 out of these 20 pitchers can stick, but to really think that they're going to just move up the farm system fast and be a number 5 guys, that's a little idiotic.
Well, they always blame, another thing that bites the Angels are injuries. I mean, they've never been healthy for an entire season. And boy, I tell you, if they really can't afford any players to be lost for a significant time this year with the holes they've got. And they haven't filled the shortstop hole. They've got a big hole at shortstop to fill.
And that's another thing too. And it's like, I know Fletcher, would be that answer if they, coming into spring training, if they can't get anybody. But yeah, you're right. They got to go and I think that was another hole. They got to obviously, and it's a big hole. They need to try and figure out shortstop. You've been hearing stuff about Correa maybe, but he's going to get upwards of 300 plus million. I mean, with
Yeah.
Baez getting 140, he's, going to be pushing the range of, 320, almost kind of what Seager got.
Yeah, Seager's what, 320, 325. So the who's the story at Colorado? He's gonna want the sky.
He's going to want the sky. I would say he would probably get somewhat closer to maybe what Baez got, maybe a little bit less. Correa is probably going to be upwards of 330 to 340.
Yeah. So I just don't know what, the GM came right out and said, we need top of the rotation. And Madden said, we need two frontline pitchers. And like I say, Syndergaard might have to have an asterisk behind his name, just asking him to be number one. So we'll see about that.
And if they can somehow come to an agreement and, hopefully by February, late February, when hopefully this is all done and they can go out and get a guy like Rondon from the White Sox, you probably get him for cheap. Then I'll start kind of going, okay, I think we'll all start kind of going, okay, this seems, is in a little bit better of a spot. Then they'll break it down to, a 5-man rotation. You'll have Sandoval at the 5, Rendon probably at, 2 or 3, and have Syndergaard fill in there. So, I mean, that would be best case scenario. But I mean, as an Angel fan, unfortunately, I just don't see that happening. Hopefully they prove me wrong.
So what do you, right now, as it is, if the season opens tomorrow, where do you see the Angels finishing?
Last place.
Yeah, that's where I am too. I just don't see where they've, they went out, they made the big splash right off the bat, and they haven't done anything since. And like I say, it's too many question marks around that big splash for it to get too excited about it. So,
and they haven't really filled, and like what we said here earlier, they haven't filled anything in their bullpen.
Right.
Besides Loop and Lorenzen, but Lorenzen, you might actually now have to make him a starter if you don't get anybody.
Glacius is back. That was a good
And
sign.
Glacius, and that was a good signing. The only problem that I have with that is I wish they would have. I know he wanted a multi-year deal. Just give him 3 years for a closer. 4 years was kind of a little. It was they kind of just gave in on that. I feel like he's a good closer. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, just give him a 3-year deal and be done with it.
They're so inconsistent. Closers are so inconsistent. 1 year they're great, the next year they're a flop.
Exactly.
Maybe Semien felt pressure to do something, so he signed him. But I don't know. I don't look at the season very optimistically right now.
No.
Their only hope is like I said before, stay healthy, and that might get them into a race for that 17th playoff spot.
Yeah, I hope. Yeah, at that point, it probably will be.
Exactly.
Yeah, everyone's getting in.
It doesn't look good right now. Hopefully, things will pick up. Hopefully, we'll get the contract with the CBA straightened out and get this season underway in a recent amount of time.
Yeah.
You got any closing thoughts, Jake?
No, it's good to be back with the schedule and everything that I've been having. It's been tough. Been needing to vent about Anaheim sports for a long time. So, I'm glad to finally come on and, share, my knowledge with the Angels. Unfortunately, hopefully things turn around. The only saving grace right now is the Anaheim Ducks are looking pretty good. So maybe talk about that next week or something like that. I would love to share my thoughts on that.
First place looking
good. All got 6th youngest team in the league.
All right. I think we'll call it a day, and thank you again for coming back. And we hope to see you again soon. Until next time, we are out.
Thank you.